Hey guys, what's up? Jubita is back with another video where today I'm gonna tackle a roster of characters that I usually don't talk about that much in this channel. The rookies of the Leaf Village, the Konoha 9, Team 8, Team Guy, and Team 10, which were the main side cast of part 1, were all kinda pushed to the side and underdeveloped in the latter half of the series. And this is a main point of criticism against Naruto Shippuden. A lot of fans don't appreciate how the rookies were glossed over in Shippuden, despite it being stated time and time again that Naruto and Sasuke had way more potential than any of their peers and were bound to surpass them sooner or later. The rookies were only meant to challenge the two in the beginning of the series, and I personally don't think it's indicative of bad writing. Matter of fact, I think it goes in line with the core themes of the series. So today, I'm going to talk about the rookies, why they've become irrelevant when compared to Naruto and Sasuke, and why that actually makes sense. I'll break down the subtle hints that Kishimoto left regarding the stagnation of the Konoha rookies. Now first off, I'm not saying that the Konoha rookies were utilized to their fullest extent in Shippuden, far from it. But what I am saying is that them becoming victims to power cliffing was inevitable. While part 1 was mostly focused on the village and its inner workings, Shippuden takes a broader look at the shinobi world, the 5 great nations, the rogue ninja, and the historical figures. The rookies were all too sheltered in comparison to all of these other factions, which is why they're so far behind in terms of power. This notion is implied as far back as the Sasuke retrieval arc. When the Sound 4 jumps Sasuke, they basically tell him that he will never become strong enough to defeat his brother if he remains playing ninja in this backwater village. This is an important part, playing ninja. Sasuke himself repeats that same line to Naruto when he's confronted in the final valley.
My days of playing ninja with you kids of the Leaf Village are done.
This was the reality of the shinobi system. It was gonna get you strong, sure, but not strong enough to compete with the rogue ninja, the Kekkei Genkai users, or even the more experienced war vet shinobi. That's why shinobi that hailed from more conflict-riddled eras were on a completely different level than the current generation, which is another point that Kishimoto emphasized multiple times throughout the story. War and loss fortify a shinobi. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Sasuke told Naruto when they were fighting that they were both strong because they both understood the pain of being alone, and that pain is what makes people strong. The rookies were simply too pampered in comparison. The only one of them that understood the pain of loss was Neji, who was considered to be on the stronger end. And even then, he still had his clansmen around. So we've established what makes shinobi strong in the series. The traditional village training regiment, the academy graduation or the Chunin exams. While they did make you stronger than the average person, they did not put you anywhere near the S-class. And that's why the rookies fell so hard in Shippuden. As now we take a step away from Konoha, and all the new players, the Akatsuki, the Jinchuriki, the Kage and their guards, all are S-ranked or of a caliber that the rookies simply can't compete with. I've seen a lot of people online try to argue that some of the rookies, Team 8 for example, should have had a fight against an Akatsuki member, but I think that's kinda dumb. I mean, if these kids were able to actually compete with or pressure the Akatsuki, then it would have made the Akatsuki a lot more underwhelming than intended. These enemies were so skilled that Kakashi couldn't defeat any of the ones that he fought. So to suggest that the rookies faced them and come out in one piece is just absurd. It wouldn't make any sense narratively speaking. The only ones that could really compete was Sakura, who was personally trained by the Hokage in strength and evasion, and even she couldn't stand a chance against Sasori without his grandmother's help. Shikamaru could only face the weakest, slowest, dumbest Akatsuki member by using his superior intellect, as well as the resolve amp he gets from experiencing the loss of his sensei, not to mention prep time. And Shikamaru was considered to be one of the more skilled rookies, and even he couldn't do anything against Kakuzu, even with prep and intel. The most he could do was use his partner Hidan's ritual against him. As for the rest, the Akatsuki was just way beyond their pay grade. Having the basic ninja training and climbing through the ranks alone simply wasn't enough to compete with the Akatsuki or the Kage. Heck, even Naruto at first was outclassed despite spending 3 years training with Jiraiya. He was only able to compete with them at first using outliers of his arsenal like the Rasen Shuriken or the Nine Tails Chakra. Naruto only becomes of that caliber once his pain is exacerbated by the loss of Jiraiya and he goes to Mount Nyoboku to learn Sage Mode. But at the start of Shippuden, if you exclude his Nine Tails form, Naruto at his base wasn't at a level of taking on Akatsuki members, and he was completely outclassed by Sasuke. And even this weaker Naruto was ahead of most of his peers, even if he was still a Genin. Most of the rookies got their Chunin promotion, and Neji was made a Jonin, but these ninja ranks were irrelevant really. The training the rookies had over the time skip was, dare I say, pathetic in comparison to Team 7, and especially in comparison to Sasuke, who'd become so ahead of his peers that he was able to overpower Orochimaru and absorb him, and also face an Akatsuki member, Deidara, on his own. To put this in comparison to the rookies, Team Guy was ambushed by a 30% clone of Kisame, and the rookies, Neji, Lee, and Tenten, were comparable to clones of this 30% clone. Rock Lee and Neji are two characters that everyone thinks have been wasted, and they did show a lot of promise in part 1, but like Sakon said, playing ninja in the village wasn't gonna get you to Akatsuki or Jinchuriki levels. Neji was promoted to Jonin over the time skip, and he was the one to break out of the water prison jutsu and take out all 3 water clones, so it was implied that he was superior to his teammates, but he was still nowhere near the caliber of Team 7, and couldn't stand a chance against the Akatsuki. I do think that Neji was wasted in the sense that he could have been utilized more, but I don't think he should have had a solo fight against the Akatsuki. He didn't go through the same training regimen as Sasuke. He maybe could have competed with like Jugo and Suigetsu, but that's kind of it. Rock Lee is a tragic case, but you have to remember that Lee's life as a ninja was almost over in part 1. He barely escaped by. Rock Lee's whole thing was hard work versus talent and being the underdog, so it's kind of a sad cautionary tale. However, Lee's more wasted than even Neji when it came to plot relevance. At least Neji got that moment where he sacrificed himself to save Naruto, and even if it is disliked by the fanbase, it's still more than what Lee did. The reason Lee was as underutilized as he was is because Might Guy kinda took the spotlight from him, since he kinda had the same moveset except that Guy was much better at it than Lee, so it was kinda rigged against Lee from the beginning. I do think that Lee's stronger than Neji and the rest of the rookies, but in terms of screen time, all you get was his participation in the war, and you also get the fillers too, I guess. Tenten, I don't know what to say that hasn't been said before. The biggest meme circulating about Tenten is her lack of screen time. She was also depicted as the weakest of Team Guy, and she was collapsing from Kisame's water prison in the anime. So yes, she didn't have much screen time, but honestly, what would she have provided to the plot? I'm gonna reiterate what I said in my weapons video. Tenten being able to wield the Bashosen, which even the Raikage said that no ordinary human could wield, was a good enough contribution by Tenten. And looking at the other 2 members of Team 10, Ino Yamanaka and Choji Akimichi, well, I honestly don't consider those 2 to be wasted characters. I mean, they both got some feats in the war. Ino became essential to the Shinobi Alliance once her father passed away, as she acted as their communication system due to the Yamanaka's hidden jutsu. Choji was also given a moment for character development when he faced his reanimated sensei, where he literally blossomed and was able to pay Kakuzu back. I think those feats were enough considering the 2 of them were never that important to begin with. Now we're left with Team 8, which is easily the most glossed over team from the Konoha 12. Team 8 was never that impressive to begin with though, even in part 1. The last time Kiba Inuzuka looked like a prodigy was his fight in the Chunin exams against Naruto, and afterwards his performance was usually lackluster. I mean, he couldn't even break through the Rashomon gate when he fought Sakon. So the fact that he didn't have any worthy contributions in Shippuden isn't really surprising. I wouldn't say he was wasted, he never showed that much promise in the first place, combat-wise at least. Not every shinobi has to be powerful. Kiba was an impressive tracker, so there's that. Shino Aburame too. I mean, Shino showed a lot more promise than Kiba, but the whole gag behind his character was that he was so forgettable that even Naruto couldn't recognize him, and he was the only one of the boys to miss out on the mission. I do think he was wasted, that's why I included him in my list, but I understand that Kishimoto had a lot of characters to work with, and there simply just wasn't enough time for Shino. The most relevant out of this team is obviously Hinata, though I will say that her only relevance is as Naruto's love interest, but she does get a much more fleshed out character arc, how she was meant to be the heir to the Hyuga clan, but was deemed as a failure by her father, and the hardship she had to overcome to become content with herself. Like Ino and Choji, I don't think she was wasted really. A lot of these characters weren't necessarily wasted, they just lagged behind Team 7 and aren't really that powerful. But that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, it's just the realistic level they're supposed to be at. All members of Team 7 had specialized training, and Naruto and Sasuke in particular had other abilities that put them on a completely different level. I've seen some people try to give Team 8 a fight against an Akatsuki member, but like I said, I don't think that was necessary at all. Team 7 isn't even a combat-focused team. They specialized in tracking, and considering the team guy could barely deal with clones of a clone, I think the Akatsuki is just way beyond Team 8's pay grade. Even just Hidan could probably solo the three of them. I mean, maybe not because of Shino, but my point is, they weren't that strong, and that's okay. They don't all have to be. This is what Sakon warned Sasuke about, and it seems like he was right. Playing ninja in the village with your friends wasn't gonna lead to Akatsuki levels of power. Even Sai, who isn't that impressive, had the edge over most of the rookies due to his rough upbringing, which is why he was confident in taking on Naruto, Shikamaru, and Choji at the same time at first. But this idea that the Konoha Rookies not being on the same level as Naruto and Sasuke is somehow bad writing is just absurd. They weren't retconned into becoming weaker or unimportant. The world just expanded in Shippuden. It wasn't confined to just the Leaf Village. And in the bigger picture, the rookies just weren't that impressive. Nothing wrong with that. They don't all have to be broken. But anyways, I think I've given my 2 cents here. Make sure to drop a like. And other than that, I'll see you next time. Bye.